All right, everybody, so welcome back to another episode of Colton Posey Fishing. Today we're doing the weekly fishing report. Now, if you like this kind of content, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. It helps me out a ton. Subscribe down below and comment if you have any questions or anything you want to add, or you just want to talk fishing. I love hearing from you guys. So the big question is, where are the fish? Well, it seems like we're starting to move into that fall transition. I've got some videos coming out here in the near future talking about the fall transition. And what I mean by that is it can put these fish in a little bit of a funk. I'm sure you've heard of the reference bass flu. It's not necessarily that the fish won't bite. It's just a lot of the fish that have stayed deep this summer and stuff like that, they're pushed to areas where they don't want to be. So, it can be difficult to catch those fish, but you still got fish shallow that you can target, and at times they are easier to catch and at times they're not. So going over, what types of areas you need to focus on. Right now, if you're on a river system and you have a lot of flats and ledges and stuff, when they're pulling that current, really focus on that and look for big schools of bass. Now you can target those fish in a bunch of different ways, whether that's crankbaits, spoons, or so on and so forth. But typically those are the fish that I want to look for. Now maybe that isn't playing out. Maybe I can't find a school of fish or something like that. Then I typically like to stay at the first parts of the creek, so right at the mouth of those creeks, and look for fish that are on the edge of those points, or shallow up in grass, chasing maybe some brim or some type of bait fish or something like that. But staying in those areas that are kind of close to the main lake. And what'll happen is when you bump into these fish, you will be able to follow them from maybe the mouth of the creek to the secondary parts of the creeks, all the way to the back, or so on and so forth, wherever they move to. But and once you find these fish, realize that they're not going to move very, very far. Okay, so they're not going to move 6 miles from a point you caught them. Okay, they may be 300 to 400 yards away from where you caught them. So really hunker down. The biggest part is getting your baits dialed in this time of year. Make sure your presentations are right, because these fish have got beat on since spring. So if you see a lot of fish chasing bait fish on the surface, pay real close attention to how small those bait fish are, how big those bait fish are. Are they moving real erratic, or whatever the case may be, and try to mimic that to the best of your abilities. If you're chasing fish that are typically eating brim and stuff like that, then try to pay real close attention to the colors of the brim. I typically say don't worry so much about your colors, worry more about your presentation. But this time of year, you really got to worry about both, okay? Because like I said, these fish are highly pressured. So guys, that's the weekly fishing report. If the video helps you at all, make sure to give me a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. We changed the schedule. We're dropping videos every same days, so Monday, Thursday, and Friday, but we're dropping them at 5 o'clock in the evening now. And if you have any questions, make sure to drop a comment down below. Anything you want to add in your area, maybe to help a fellow angler, or if you just want to talk fishing. I love hearing from you guys. I'll see you next week.